In this episode of the Pad Bank, I announce the 200th Flip It Challenge. We talk about Lil Wayne selling his masters for $100 million, and I review the submissions for the Flip It Challenge 198.
I made it. I made it. I made it. I produced. I made it. I made it. I made it. Produced. I cooked up.
Hello and welcome to the Pad Bank with me, Tony Brown, and this is episode number 17, I believe. So I trust you're all well. I trust you've had a good week. My week has been very productive, very expensive as well. So as I record this, it is the 13th of December, and it was my daughter's birthday last week. So December for me is always, it's an expensive month. But you know what? It's a blessing. It's a blessing to be able to celebrate. You know, I'm looking forward to wrapping up 2020. It's been a mad year, and I just want to celebrate, man. I want to give thanks for life, for health, for strength, and all that stuff. You know what I mean? It's very easy to get caught up and to feel down in this current time. So as I always say, man, I hope you're well. I trust you well, and I mean that when I say that. I mean it. You know what I mean? I appreciate the Pad Bank family. And I always look forward to engaging with you, whether it's via virtually via the podcast, whether it's on the YouTube channel, or whether it's in the Pad Bank community. So salute, big up yourselves, and as always, I value you guys, man. So big up. I've also been productive making a few beats this week, so it's been a productive week, man. Banged out a few beats. I submitted my submission to the Flip It Challenge 199. So we're currently on Challenge 199, and I was challenged by one of the group members to say, so what, you're not throwing your hat into the mix? Because basically we had 4 samples to choose from. But I'll talk about that more in that segment. But yeah, definitely been productive this week. I probably made about 4 or 5 beats this week. Some good stuff. So yeah, man, them weeks where you feel like, yeah, I've got a lot done. Production-wise, it's been one of those ones. And then also, obviously, getting everything set up here in my little home studio, things are coming together. So also, last week, I was interviewed by a longtime friend of mine who has a show called The Source of the Force. It's on Buddha Palm TV on YouTube. And basically, the premise of the show is interviewing and speaking to people around music, around film, around, things that influence them in them doing what they do. So I was invited to come on as a guest, and it was funny being on the other side as an interviewee. Like usually as a podcast host, I'm interviewing other people. So it was nice for a change to be in a position where I'm asked questions about my journey. And also it was the first time in a very, very long time, if not the first time ever, where I've been interviewed about my music journey. So when I've done interviews in the past, it's been around, my business journey and my publishing journey. I've had interviews about my youth work career. I've had interviews around, a number of different things. But this is the first time where I've been interviewed about my music journey. And we went for like 2 hours and 50 minutes. And if you're interested in hearing more about my backstory, I would definitely recommend you go there and check that out. So I'll talk about right away from being like, 4 or 5 and my mom and dad play music in the house, right the way through to me going to live in America, the influence that had on me. Then growing up in Heathtown, in Wolverhampton, with people like Goldie and the B-Boys, being around in the community. Right the way through to starting DJing, start getting into production. So I'll just basically share my whole musical journey right the way up to today, the Pad Bank, and the stuff I'm doing now. So if you want to know more about my backstory, go and check out The Source of the Force. I'll put a link in the description for you to go and check that out. Like I said, we go along, man, and I'll get very intimate and very transparent about my journey. So definitely check that out. But listen, I've got a lot to talk about today. First things first is the Flip It Challenge 200.
I made it. Produced. I cooked up.
Yeah, so as I said, the Flip It Challenge 199 is taking place now. That's people are submitting to that challenge as we speak. And that one's an interesting one. So it's the last challenge before the 200th edition. We've done 199 challenges, and I worked it out again today, just done some quick maths, and that's almost 1,500 beats submitted. Now it's a rough guess, some rough maths. Usually we get like anything from 7 to 12 submissions each week. So on average, that works out to about between 14 and 1,500 beats over a period of time, which is to me, that's a great achievement. You know what I mean? To know we've got a library of that many beats. So that leads us into the 200th edition, which I've been talking about for a while. Once I could see it coming, it was like, yo, I want to do something special for that. So yeah, man, it's upon us. Once everyone's submitted, the 200th challenge will be opened. So it's due to open formally on Wednesday the 17th. I believe it's Wednesday the 17th. That's when everything will officially launch. But this podcast comes out on Monday, so I just want to make people aware going into that week, this is how it's going to go down. So yeah, man, it's the 200th edition of the Flip It Challenge. And for this one, like I said, I've been saying it for a while, I want to do something special. So what we're doing to celebrate the 200th edition, we're giving all entries an opportunity or a chance to win $100. So it's going to be $100 prize, and also the opportunity to have your track featured on the Flip It Challenge 200 beat tape. So previously we've done beat tapes as part of the pad bank. So the way it's gone before is like we'll just put it out there to the community to say, yo, submit your beats. We're doing a beat tape. There's other times where we've picked a theme. So for this one, people who submit to the 200th challenge, we're going to pick the best 15, and their tracks will also be featured in the beat tape for the 200th challenge. But the headline is you got a chance to win yourself $100. So there's going to be a prize, and the way it's going to work is you'll go to the page. So you'll go to thepadbank.com/flip200. That's thepadbank.com/flip200. Now, don't try and skip the queue and jump ahead of yourselves and go to the page yet, because it's not published yet. It will be published on the 17th. So it'll be public and available on the 17th of December. So you can go there. You can download the sample. So like I said, I've already selected the sample. And then all you need to do, once you've downloaded the sample, just make your track, and then you need to submit your entry via the form on that page. So you need to go back to that page and then submit your track that way. Once it's submitted, the next step is what you need to do is to go to Instagram. Make sure you're following the Pad Bank on Instagram. You need to like the post, links to the Flip 200 challenge. So like that post, and then comment and tag a friend or a fellow producer. That's what you need to do. So download the sample, make your beat, upload it using the form, and then go to our IG page. Make sure you're following the Pad Bank. Make sure you like the post. There'll be a post, links to the Flip Challenge 200. And then you just need to comment and tag a friend or a fellow producer on that post. So the entries will be open, or the competition will be open until Wednesday, the 30th of December. So you've got a good 2 weeks to make your beat. So the reason I've done it like that is because I've recently been consulting with the community and asking people, why don't you submit, or what's a barrier to you submitting and contributing and participating in the Flip It Challenge? And the biggest response was just a lack of time. People have just got a lack of time that, they want to get involved, they want to engage, but just time restrictions. So for this one, I'm giving people 2 weeks. So they've got the week leading up to the Christmas period, the whole Christmas period to make the beat and submit. So entries must be in by the 30th of December. Once they're in, what I'm going to do a New Year's special of the podcast. So I'll do the podcast live. I'll do a live stream on YouTube, and then you guys, the viewers, will be able to vote for your favorite beat during that live stream. And then obviously we'll select the winner. The winner will be announced. and then they have to then get in touch with myself to claim their prize. If they don't get in touch within 2 days of the announcement, the prize will then go to the person who had the highest number of votes, the next person who had the highest number of votes. So, but all the details will be on the page. So I'm just giving you an overview. But once it's live, all the details will be on the page. So that's thepadbank.com/flip200. It's the 200th edition of the Flip It Challenge. So you get to win yourself $100, and you also get to have your beat featured on the beat tape that'll be coming out next year. So I'm excited about it, man. I'm excited to see some of the tracks that come in. The sample, I like the sample. And as much as I'm going to submit, I'm not going to submit to the competition because it'd be unfair if if I was to win and get the $100. But I will be participating. So if you've never taken part in the Flip It Challenge before, now's the time. Also, if you're not already a member of the Pad Bank, come over and join. You know what I mean? Just come over to thepadbank.com, go to the community tab, join the community, and then from there you can get involved in the Flip It Challenges. So get involved, spread the word. If you know a fellow producer, and you think, you know what I mean, they got a chance of winning, you think, you know what, that they could win this, put it out there, let them know, and tell them to get involved in the Flip It Challenge 200. Everything will be on Instagram, so make sure you're following us over there. There'll be updates and announcements, and I will also talk about it next week, just to keep you in the loop. But yeah, man, looking forward to that.
I made it. Produced, I cooked up.
All right, so in recent news, it was announced, or it came out that Lil Wayne has sold his masters to Universal Music Group for over $100 million. Now, the reason I'm talking about this is because, to me, this is related to a topic that I've been talking about for the past maybe 3 episodes now, which is about revenue from streams, the low revenue that people are getting from these streaming platforms. Now, I believe this could be linked to that. So, yeah, man, he sold his masters for over $100 million. He sold it to Universal Music Group. Now, I don't know all the details. I'm only kind of looking into it now. But people are saying it might be linked to or part of a lawsuit that he's involved in. So it's his previous manager is also suing him for $20 million. And then there's some other stuff going on. He's got a case coming up, a gun charge and whatever. So he's got a number of things going on. So people are saying, basically, he's cashing in now in preparation for what's going to happen with the lawsuits that he's got going on. So that's the talk on social media and just in and around, you know, different platforms. For me, I think Lil Wayne ain't no fool, and he's not broke. I mean, I know he probably lives a very lavish lifestyle. So although he has probably made hundreds of millions of dollars through who he is, you know, I mean, his music career and the celebrity status he's got, I don't think he's broke. And he's no fool either. You know what I mean? I'm sure he's got a legal team around him. He's got advisors. He's got lawyers. You know, he's got a management team. There's a business built around him, the brand Lil Wayne. So it got me thinking, $100 million. People are saying, oh, he's stupid. He's stupid for doing it. It's a dumb move. You know what I mean? He's selling himself short. However, could it be a case of he sat down with his accountant and he's worked out that over the past X number of years, I've only generated X number of dollars from a music catalogue. Would he be better off just selling it? And the other thing to keep in mind as well is, has he sold it outright forever, or has he licensed it to Universal Music Group for X number of years? You know what I mean? Because you can license the rights to your catalogue for a certain term, so like 10 years or whatever, and then that whoever's bought the license, they can exploit it to make as much money off it as they can for that period, and they just give you X amount up front. it could be that kind of situation. If that's the case, it's probably a good deal for him. If he sold it outright, again, he's probably done his numbers and he's probably thought, you know what, I'm better off getting the cash and flipping the cash, or investing it in something else or whatever. I don't know all the details behind it, but it got me thinking about this. So from a numbers perspective, and based on the numbers that I can see on Lil Wayne's Spotify, based on what it says on here, he gets 22.5 million monthly listens. Yeah, 22.5 million. That's just on this platform. So I've done some quick maths based on the revenue figures that I know of from personal experience. And again, this is the amount per stream paid to the label, not to the artist. Yeah, keep that in mind. So as I mentioned in previous episodes, from Spotify you get 0.0034, say around 0.004 cents per stream. So based on that number, from the number of streams he gets per month, he would be earning around $90,000 a month off this one platform. That's around $1 million a year if you times it by 12. So then I thought, well, he's not just on Spotify. There's a number of different platforms, Tidal, Amazon, Apple, Pandora, Deezer, all these different platforms. So I thought you're going to have those major platforms plus other streams of revenue, so other revenue streams. So I thought, okay, times it by 10. Times it by 10, he's making 10 million a year from his catalogue on average. And again, I know these numbers I'm just pulling them out of the air, but I've kind of tried to make it as close to reality as possible. So let's say he's making 10 million a year from streaming and sync, etc. So then to make that $100 million, it would take him 10 years to make that. So has he worked it out that it would be more lucrative for him to sell the catalogue or license it for a 10-year period? Again, I don't know all the details. He could have licensed it, but the headline is he sold it. If he sold it outright, then he's lost that forever. Do you get what I'm saying? His children's children wouldn't benefit from that. Where if they've got it, it will get passed down and passed down and passed down. That's one thing. However, if he says, you know what, just sell it and give me the 100 mil, my family will be rich forever off that anyway. Do you get what I'm saying? He could just divvy that up and say, boom, that's for my children, that's for my grandchildren. You guys do what you're doing. I've set up a trust fund. Off that trust fund, I will generate X amount of interest. Because that's the other thing you got to remember. He will probably make more money from the interest off that 100 million than he would from the streaming revenue. It'll probably work out more. Do you get what I'm saying? If you've got, let's say you got 50 million in a high interest account, you'll probably make more money off that than you would off these streams. If he was to invest it in a tech company, in certain stocks and shares, in property, do you get what I'm saying? Once you got $100 million, you ain't going to go broke. And if you do, you've been very foolish with your money. So I don't think it's all that bad as people are making. Like, people are talking about it like it's the worst thing ever. He's stupid, he's a fool. Why has he done this? He's sold out. He's sold his rights and his ownership, etc. But if he does get 100 mil, well, it says over 100 mil for it. I'm sure he will know how to flip that to make more money. The other thing to keep in mind as well, you see someone like Lil Wayne. My man is prolific in terms of how he makes music. I've heard he's a machine. Do you get what I'm saying? When it comes to making music, he's a machine. So he may have sold his catalogue of existing music. He's probably sitting on another catalogue that's probably worth much more than the 100 mil, than the existing catalogue's worth. And also, he may be in a better position when he releases his new music. Do you get what I'm saying? He's been stung before. I know he's been caught up in some contract situation. He hasn't been paid. He's been battling with Birdman to get his masters and whatever, and to get paid outright and to get released from a certain deal that he had. So he's probably now in a better position. He's probably in an independent position where whatever he releases, that's him. So maybe he's in a better position moving forward. And he's like, you know what? I'm just going to surrender my existing catalogue. The money I'm going to get from that, I'm going to invest in this new situation. And this is going to generate me 100 million tenfold. Who knows? I don't know, but I'm sure it's all going to come out. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more. We're going to hear a lot more about this in the news in time to come. So, yeah, man, I'd love to hear your thoughts about Wayne selling his catalogue.
I made it. Produced, I cooked up.
Okay, Flip It Challenge 198. That's what we're reviewing today. So we've currently got 9 submissions. And this week's sample was selected by Dano Bravo Beats, the winner of last week's competition. And it's John Hicks, Yamenja. So I've just had a quick listen to it. It's a jazzy type sample. So again, I'll just flick through it real quick. The link to the sample will be in the description. So if you want to check it out, just go over to YouTube or in the podcast description, and you'll see a link to check out that sample. Well, this is what it sounded like. So again, I'm just going to flick through it.
The pad bank.
So you can hear very jazzy, piano heavy, bit of double bass in there.
The pad bank.
So it's a very jazzy sample. So first up we have Jingev, and I believe Jingev is a new member of the community. I haven't seen his name before, so I appreciate you and salute you, brother. Thank you for joining. And this is his entry to the Flip It Challenge 198. Let's go.
The pad bank. The pad bank. The pad bank.
All right, so that was my man Jingev. I appreciate the submission. It's only a short beat. It's like 1 minute and 8 seconds. Usually I play about just over a minute of each track. So there's just enough there to get an idea of what he submitted. So I'm going to just draw it back quickly. We can hear that again as I'll give you some feedback. So yeah, man, it's definitely a nice sequence. The first thing, from a feedback point of view, the first thing that stood out for me was just that the snare sounds a little bit hollow. But yeah, man, it's a nice submission. A few variations in there as well, so he's made like 2 or 3 different sequences. So yeah, big up yourself, my brother. I appreciate your entry. So that was Jingev. That's entry number 1. So next up we have XOnBeats. Again, another long-standing member of the community. He's been with us for a minute. So let's listen to his submission.
The pad bank. pad bank.
All right, so that's XOnBeats. I don't know if it's just my ears, but the bass line sounds slightly off key a little bit. Just slightly, but I like that. You see that little random, it's like a bell sound. You know them yoga bells where they kind of, them Eastern bells where they rub it and it makes that sound. I don't know what it's called, but I like that little, I don't even know what word to use. That sound there you go. That's it. I like that. So yeah, man, big up yourself, XOnBeats. Yeah, like I said, the only thing that stands out for me is just the bassline sounds slightly off key. Probably would like to hear a few more variations on the sequence as well. But again, I'll give all this feedback knowing that it's a quick turnaround. Do you get what I'm saying? We don't expect perfection. It's just an opportunity for people to stay busy and to participate. So I'm really, really not expecting perfection. The feedback is just for you to implement moving forward. You know what I mean? So anytime I give feedback, and again, the feedback, I try to implement it myself when I'm making my own beats. Do you get what I'm saying? I listen from a point of view. It's like, okay, I'm hearing this. If I was doing this, what would I do? Okay, the bass line sounds a little bit off. The sequence, okay, it's getting a little bit boring. I would probably do another variation there. So I'm not sitting here in a seat like I'm the perfect producer and I've got all the answers. It's just as I hear something, do you get what I'm saying? I'm just going to say it. So that's that. Next up is my man Dan73. Big up yourself, Dan, again. Long-standing member of the community. This is his entry. It's called For the Dancers. Let's go.
The pad bank.
This is for the dancers in the line. Syncopated movement, all about the time. This is for the dancers in the line. Syncopated movement, all about the time.
The pad bank.
All right, so that's Dan73.
The line. Syncopated movement, all about the time.
Now I'll tell you from now. In the group, Dan got my vote.
In the line.
I like this.
All about the
What I liked about it was as soon as I heard it, I could hear it being out as a proper track. It wasn't just like a beat. I could hear someone literally rapping on it, like a De La Soul or someone like that, a Del the Funky Homo Sapien or something like that. So it reminded me of something that I'd heard before, and I thought, yeah, man, it sounds solid. Got a nice mix on it, nice balance with the sounds. Simple, catchy. Yeah, man, I could definitely hear someone rapping on this. So, big up yourself, Dan. I've definitely
This is for the dancers in the line.
seen you progress in the group, man. So, big up yourself. All right, so next up we have Subphotic. And this is his entry is called Chuck. So let's go. That's Subphotic with Chunk, sorry. Again, another nice flip. Kind of a more darker, hardcore sound. You know, something to keep in mind, again, with all of these beats, with the sample selection, it can definitely take you out your comfort zone and make you have to make something that you wouldn't necessarily make if it was personal choice. It definitely forces your hand. And also as well, with each sample, you're not always going to find something that you think, yeah man, that's a banger, that's a winner. But it's a case of it's about the participation. You know what I mean? I'm going to try and make something out of this. So again, there's times where samples have been submitted and I've listened to it personally. I've been like, it's not really something I would choose. If I've got the time, I'll engage. If I haven't, I'm not going to try and force it. So man, big up to all the guys, man. Wait, man, you got a nice sound here. Like I said, more of a darker kind of hardcore sound. I'm trying to think who I could hear on this. I'm not sure, but the other thing as well, I like the fact that you've got multiple sequences going on as well. You got busy, so I appreciate that. Always appreciate that. Right, next up is my man DJ Storm. So this is his entry to the Flip It Challenge 198.
The Pad Bank. The Pad Bank.
Alright, so that's DJ Storm. You know, I think this sample's pretty hard, man. Again, because it is limited instrumentation in there, it's heavily piano based. That's another thing. What's difficult with these challenges is trying how you're going to sound different, how you're going to stand out from the other entries, what you're going to do different. There's certain samples, I hear them and I just think, you know, there's probably like 2 or 3 parts in there that I think, yeah man, I'd use that. But I always think to myself, I bet everyone else has heard that as well. So what am I going to do differently to make myself stand out? Or if it's something that you've dug, you've found, and you feel like, yeah man, this is something quite unique. You use that main part and just think, boy, no one else is going to use this. Or if they do, I probably won't hear them. But in a group like this, when everyone in the group has got the same access to the same sample, it's what are you going to do to stand out and make yourself, just come across slightly different than everyone else. And certain samples, it's hard, man. Certain tracks, it's hard. But yeah, man, big up yourself, DJ Storm. Always appreciate you, my brother. Nice entry. Clean, tidy, well balanced. Nice little variety. What I'm not going to say, I got clowned in the group this week because I don't always say, but I usually say something about the mix. And I usually say, oh yeah, man, bring the hats down a little bit. That's just my personal preference, you know what I mean? I don't know what it is, man. I like it where my drums they're clean and they're tidy and they're well balanced. But I don't like when the hats are all up in the forefront, man. I don't know what it is. I'm not saying these hats are all up in the forefront, but I'll probably bring them down slightly in the mix. So yeah, man, big up yourselves. Right, next up we have our brothers over there at the Archaeological Society of Crate Diggers. If you haven't checked them out, go and check them out. They've got a podcast and a radio station. They're based in Chicago. They've been supporting the podcast for the Pad Bank, for a minute. So this is their entry. I think this is their second entry into the Flip It Challenge. So again, I appreciate your contributions, my brothers. Let's take a listen to your entry.
The Pad Bank. The Pad Bank. The Pad Bank.
Okay, so that's the Archaeological Society of Crate Diggers. And they've called that the lo-fi theory. And I can hear why. They've kind of gone for that lo-fi approach. Yeah, man, I like it, man. I would have liked to probably heard a bit more of the sample use. But again, I'm conscious, you know what I mean? There's only so many elements of certain samples you can use. So obviously they've predominantly gone for... Actually, is that double bass? I'm not sure if that double bass is in the track. I need to listen back. But they've obviously gone predominantly for the bass. And then got a few piano chops scattered around in there. But yeah, man, decent entry. So big up yourselves, brothers. Appreciate you all. Yeah, I like the little change up there as well. Yeah, it seems very what's the word? Minimal. That's the word I'm looking for. Minimalistic. Lots of space for MC to do their thing. So yeah, nice one, guys. I appreciate it, man. And continue to support what we're doing over here. So yeah, next up we have my man Richard Taran, and his entry is called Chicken Hawk. I'm always surprised about some of the names, man. I'm intrigued. Like, let's hear this. Why is this called Chicken Hawk? Let's go.
The Pad Bank. the pad bank.
All right, so that's my man Richard Taran. I like that. You know what? I just realised. Again, going back to the previous one from our brothers at the Archaeological Society, the name, the the lo-fi theory. It reminds me of something off Tribe Called Quest's low end theory. Not We Got the Jazz. There's a track on there, but it's got that similar double bass. Ding, 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 ding. I could definitely hear a young Q-Tip on something like this. Wait, man, I like this, Richard. Simple, effective, does what it needs to do. Spacious. And that's the other thing as well. Again, I'm just, this is not to Richard, this is to, just across the board. I'm conscious, when it comes to like beat battles and, anything competitive from a producer's point of view, it's very easy to do too much. You know what I mean? Like, you try to do everything, all the tricks in the book, you try to do them to get that competitive edge, and then at times it sounds overproduced. I'm not saying Richard has done this at all, I'm just saying, like, across the board, sometimes that's a mistake we make as producers in a competitive situation, rather than just making the beat, you know what I mean? Making what you feel, what sounds good. You put everything in there, you put all your transitions and your rolls and your, some crazy arrangements and, this, that and the other. You throw everything in there to outdo the other producer. But from an artist point of view, a rapper would hear that and think, where am I going to go? There's no space for me. You've filled it up that much that there's no room for me. So, yeah, man, that's just something to keep in mind and be aware of. Right, next up is my man Dano Bravo Beats, and this is called Dirt Naps. Let's go. Dano Bravo Beats getting busy. Jeez. Definitely getting busy on that one. I like that. Sounding like a movie soundtrack or something, man. But again, this kind of is almost guilty of what I was talking about, just doing a little bit too much. Not in a bad way, I like it. But at certain times it sounds, there's a lot going on, man. But from a sample flip point of view, I like what you've done with the sample. Definitely sounds different to anything else I've heard. You definitely took it somewhere else, man, so I like that. some of those vocal samples definitely sound a little bit out of place. Like there's a bit too much going on. Maybe they just scatter them around a little bit more. Use them a little bit more sparingly. Well, big up yourself, Dano. I don't need to tell you. You know what you do, man. I don't need to tell you anything. You know what you're doing, bro. Big up yourself, man. Definitely a strong entry. Right, last but not least is my man Rob Russ. Big up yourself, Rob Russ, and this is called Cracked Canvas. Let's go.
Rob Russ, Rob Russ, Rob Russ, Rob Russ, Rob Russ.
The pad bank.
All right, that was Rob Russ with his entry. Pause that there. Yeah, man, that was Rob Russ. Big up yourself, bro. Let me bring that back. I really like that. That had some nod factor. Definitely had me nodding. Yeah, man. Simple. Tidy. Yeah, man, I like this. So, that's all entries. And obviously, I know the outcome. This week was a tough one, man. I'm telling you. And not just for me, you know what I mean? Obviously, I know what's going on behind the scenes. So, for those that don't know, the winner for this week's Flip It Challenge, 198, was... We had a 4-way tie. That's how tight it was, you know what I mean? Everyone done their thing this week, man. There was some in there where, they could have also been nominated. It should have just been an all-round tie, you know what I mean? Everyone done their thing, everyone got busy. There was nothing in there where I thought, that was a bit whack, you know what I mean? There was nothing in there like that this week. Everything was positive. So like I said, we had a 4-way tie between... Dan Hall, Dan73, Dano Bravo Beats, the Archaeological Society of Crate Diggers, and Rob Russ, which we just heard. So we had a 4-way tie. It's the first time ever we've had a 4-way tie. So salute to everyone who engaged, who participated and took part. You're all winners, man. You're all winners. You know what I mean? You've taken the time to contribute. So big up yourselves. So what we've done, basically, like I said, is a 4-way tie. So for challenge 199, we have 4 samples. Everyone picked a sample and submitted it. And I just thought, you know what? It's a good way to close out the year. It's 199. It's the last one before the 200th edition, which we're going to do something a little bit different with. So I thought, you know what? Let's not long it out. It's a 4-way tie. We're going to pick 4 samples, and we're going to have the next round's going to be just a 4-sample mashup. You've got 4 samples to choose from. If you want to choose them all, so be it. If you want to just choose one and run with that, so be it. So yeah, man. Big up everyone who took part. I'm looking forward to seeing and hearing what happens next week. So yeah, man, that's it for this episode. Make sure you check out the Flip It Challenge 200, which will go live on Wednesday, the 17th. Make sure you check that out and share, tell people about it. Make sure you come over to Instagram and check out the post over there. And I look forward to seeing and hearing all the submissions for that. But until then, I'll see you again in another episode of the Pad Bank. All the best, God bless, and take care.
I made it. I made it. I made it. I produced. I made it. I made it. I produced. I cooked up.